get that big, but they could involve yield curve relationships or on the run, off the run governments or things like that are just things you learn over time if you're around securities markets. They're not the base of our business. Probably on average, they've accounted for a 0.5 percentage point of our return a year, or 0.75 of a percentage point a year of our return. They're little pluses that you get for actually having just been around a long time and learning a little bit about it. Not the first arbitrage I did, but one of the first arbitrages I did involved a company where they were offering cocoa beans in exchange for their stock. That was in 1955. And I bought the stock, turned in the stock, got warehouse certificates for cocoa beans, and they happened to be a different type. They were trading in the New York Cocoa Exchange, but there was a basis differential in my favor, and I sold them. I mean, that's just something that I was around at the time, so I learned about. Hasn't been a cocoa bean deal since. 40-odd years. I've been waiting for another cocoa bean deal. I haven't seen it, but it's there in my memory if it ever comes along. And that long-term capital is that on a big scale. Yep. The question is about diversification, and I've got a dual answer to that. If you are not a professional investor, if your goal is not to manage money in such a way as to get a significantly better return than the world, then I believe in extreme diversification. I mean, so I believe 98 or 99%, maybe more than 99% of people who invest should extensively diversify and not trade. So that leads them to an index fund type of decision with very low costs. Because all they're going to do is own a part of America. And they made a decision that owning a part of America is worthwhile. I don't quarrel with that at all. That is the way they should approach it, unless they want to bring an intensity to the game to make a decision and start evaluating businesses. But once you're in the business of evaluating businesses and you decide that you're going to bring the effort and intensity and time involved to get that job done, then I think that diversification is a terrible mistake to any degree. And I got asked that question when I was at SunTrust the other day. And if you really know businesses, you probably shouldn't own more than 6 of them. I mean, if you can identify 6 wonderful businesses, that is all the diversification you need. And you're going to make a lot of money. And I will guarantee you that going into a 7th one is going to, rather than putting more money in your first one, it's got to be a terrible mistake. Very few people have gotten rich on their 7th best idea. But a lot of people have gotten rich on their best idea. So I would say that for anybody working with normal capital who really knows the businesses they've gone into, a 6 is plenty. And I probably have half of it in what I liked best. I don't diversify personally. I mean, all the people I know that have done well, with the exception of what we mentioned Walter Schloss here earlier, Walter diversifies a lot. He owns a little of everything. I call him Noah. He's got 2 of everything. Yeah.
How do you differentiate the Coca-Colas of the world from the Procter & Gamble's of the world?
Well, Procter & Gamble's a very, very good business. Strong distribution capabilities, lots of brand names and everything. But if you ask me, if I'm going to go away for 20 years, to put all my family's net worth in one business, but I'd rather have Procter & Gamble or Coke. Actually, Procter & Gamble's a little more, it'd be more diversified among product line, but I would feel sure of Coke than Procter & Gamble. I wouldn't be unhappy if somebody told me I had to own Procter & Gamble during that 20-year period. I mean, that would be in my top 5% because they are not going to get killed. But I would feel better about the unit growth and the pricing power of a Coke over 20 or 30 years than I would about a Procter & Gamble. Right now, the pricing power might be tough, but you think of billion servings a day, an extra penny, $10 million a day. We own 8% of it. That's $800,000 a day for Berkshire Hathaway. You get another penny out of the stuff. Doesn't seem impossible, does it? I mean, it's worth another penny. It doesn't. Right now, it'd be a mistake to try and get it in most markets. But over time, Coke will make more per serving than it does now. 20 years from now, I'll guarantee it'll make more per serving. They'll be selling a whole lot more servings. I don't know how many. I don't know how much more, but I know that. P&G's main products, I don't think they have the kind of dominance, and they don't have the kind of unit growth, but they're good businesses. I would not be unhappy if you told me that I had to put my family's net worth in P&G and that was the only stock I could own. I would, I might prefer some other names, but there aren't 100 other names I would prefer. Yeah.
On that same model, what about McDonald's? Did we go like 20 years on that?
McDonald's, the question's about McDonald's and going away for 20 years. McDonald's has got a lot of things going for it, and particularly abroad again. I mean, their position abroad in many countries is stronger relatively than here. It's a tougher business over time. People do not want to eat, exception to the kids when they're giving away Beanie Babies or something, people do not want to eat at McDonald's every day. I mean, if people are drinking Coke today, they drink 5 of them today, they'll probably drink 5 tomorrow. The fast food business is tougher than that. But if you had to pick one hand to have in the fast food business, which is going to be a huge business worldwide, you'd pick McDonald's. I mean, it has the strongest position. It doesn't win taste tests, with adults. It does very well with children, and it does fine with adults. But it is not like it's a clear winner. And it's gotten into the game in recent years of being more price promotional, and you remember the experiment a year ago or so, and so it's gotten more dependent on that rather than just selling the product by itself. I like the product by itself sells. I feel better about Gillette if people buy the Mach 3 because they like the Mach 3 than if they get a Beanie Baby with it. So I just think it's fundamentally a stronger product if that's the case, and it probably is. We own a lot of Gillette, and you can sleep pretty well at night if you think of a couple billion men with their hair growing on their faces. You go to, it's growing all night while you sleep, and women have 2 legs. It's even better. So it beats counting sheep. And those are the kind of business. But if you think, what promotion am I going to put out there against Burger King next month? And what if they sign up Disney and I don't get Disney? And I mean, that is, I like the products that stand alone, absent promotional or price appeals. Although you can build a very good business based on that, and McDonald's is a terrific business. It's not as good a business as Coke, but there really are hardly any. It's a very good business, and if you bet on one company in that field, aside from Dairy Queen, of course, you want to bet on McDonald's. We bought Dairy Queen here a while back. That's why I'm plugging it shamelessly here. Yeah, way back there. What do I think of what? The electric utility industry. Well, I've thought about that a lot because you can put big money in it, and I've even thought of buying entire businesses. There's a fellow in Omaha actually that's done a little of that through Cal Energy, but I don't quite understand the game in terms of how it's going to develop with deregulation. I mean, I can see how it destroys a lot of value for the high-cost producer, once they're not protected by a monopoly territory. And I don't for sure see who benefits and how much. I mean, obviously the guy with very low-cost power, some guy's got hydropower, at 2 cents a kilowatt or something like that, has got a huge advantage. But how much of that he's going to get to keep and everything, or how extensively he can send that outside his natural territory, I haven't been able to figure that out so that I really think I know what the industry is going to look like in 10 years. But it is something I think about, and if I ever develop any insights, that call for action, I'll develop. I will act on them. Because I think I can understand the attractiveness of the product, and it's all of that, all of the aspects of certainty, of user need, and the fact that it's a bargain and all of that. I understand. I just don't understand who's going to make the money in it 10 years from now, and that keeps me away.